We're going to hear next a composer, Samuil Feinberg, and two works by him that really fit in well with a series that we've been presenting through the month of May called Hidden Gems. This is a series featuring neglected composers and neglected works by well-known composers. And this really has been a major part of your career, devoting your performing to these hidden gems. So tell us about Samuil Feinberg. How did you come across his music?
My goodness. I've always been very, very curious as far as repertoire exploration. I mean, I realized rather soon in my life that there was a lot out there that was maybe worthy of being heard, and for some reason that was never heard in concert halls or on recordings. And in the case of Feinberg, if you have your feelers out in any way, you're going to come across his name. But at the time that I tried to get the scores together, that really wasn't easy. Today, of course, they're all available online for anybody who wants to peruse them. But back then, libraries, don't even think about music stores. Nothing was in print, and still isn't, actually. So I had to accumulate sort of my collection piecemeal. And now I think I do have a complete collection, or I think I do.
And he's part of a tradition. He lived in the early 20th century in Russia, but it's really a tradition that goes back to the 19th century of those great pianist composers.
Yes, the pianistic fabric of his writing definitely comes from the 19th century. But the language is absolutely fascinating. I don't think it's for everyone, but one thing one can say about him is that he was very much his own person. You will hear two short one-movement sonatas today, number 4 and number 1. I've chosen to put number 4 first, simply because it's the programming for today made a little more sense, because number 1, actually, the one I'll end with, is much more optimistic, whereas number 4 is quite a bit more disturbing. If you look at the first 6 sonatas, for example, the first sonata starts very tonally. It's in A major, and they all have tonal bases, but as he went on, the language became a lot more personal, a lot more chromatic, and also a lot more disturbing and questioning. The 4th sonata, which you're about to hear, I see as a 10-minute gust of wind. It's sort of a journey through a land which is full of rather unsettling and rather frightening things. It's a tonal piece, but sometimes he strays so far away from tonality that he really introduces you to a completely unknown territory, and that's fascinating.
Yeah, I was reading last night about him. I was not familiar with his music before our performance today, and I read somewhere that someone described him. I guess there have been comparisons to Scriabin, who greatly admired him.
You'll hear it in the first sonata, for example. Yes.
But someone described his music as darker than Scriabin's, that it's not striving for the light, as Scriabin sometimes did in his music.
It is content to remain in darkness.
Okay.
Definitely. He is much more remembered today as a pianist because he left us quite a number of recordings. I should mention that his complete recording of the Well-Tempered Clavier is, to my mind, the most interesting one that has ever been produced.
Wow, okay.
And I'm not mincing words here. And he also, he is remembered very lovingly as one of the greatest teachers ever to have taught at the Moscow Conservatory. He did produce one very important book called Pianism as Art, which is right now for the first time being translated into English. It's not available yet. It's only been available in Russian. But apparently it's a 500-page book, which every pianist should have in their libraries. So I hear.
All right. Well, let's hear the music now of Samuil Feinberg. This is his Sonata Number 4 from 1918, and it's played for us by Marc-André Hamelin. The music of Samuil Feinberg, his Sonata Number 4, Opus 6 from 1918, as played for us live today by pianist Marc-André Hamelin, who is here in Chicago. He gave a recital yesterday afternoon at Symphony Center and playing for us today. Wow, what a piece. It is relentless.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
a word that comes to mind. And you're right, it's a very distinctive sound world that he has created.
Yes, I mean, I like the fact that it creates its own universe because at least I cannot relate it to anything else, harmonically, even structurally, you know, and of course mood-wise. It's an absolutely unique piece, and I appreciate it at least for these qualities.
Well, I also was thinking as you were playing, he really comes from that generation of composers in Russia, the former Soviet Union, who were not able to make careers outside of their native country because of the political situation, religious and political reasons.
That's true.
Yeah. So are there any, I would imagine there are so many other composers who are just now sort of coming to light here across the world. Any other composers right now you're looking at
Well, not
or
really. I
exploring?
mean, I'm so deeply into Feinberg, you know,
Yeah.
and it deserves, it really demands a very, very intense and prolonged kind of penetration, you know, because it's, as I said, you know, it's a fascinating universe, but it's also very complicated. And my aim is not to do this for myself, but to do it for you, for the audience.
Right.
And I wanted to present it as clearly, as authentically as possible.
Do you have plans for recording his music?
Ultimately, yes,
Yeah.
but this is something that I really don't want to rush.
Sure. Tell us about this next piece, which is his first sonata from 1915. Maybe a little bit of relief.
Yes, it's
from
certainly
the
not a first
period.
composition because, of course, there had been many attempts before, but this is his first published work.
Yeah.
The difference between what you just heard and what you're about to hear is really, really, really striking. I mean, the first 2 pages of this first sonata are completely diatonic. I mean, they're all within the scale. There's no chromaticism, no complicated harmonies. So it's right now, right then and there, the contrast is quite marked. You know? But it's a very sunny, optimistic piece, and written at such a young age. He was 25 at the time. Already exhibits, I think, a lot of wisdom.
Here is the Sonata Number 1 by Samuil Feinberg, once again pianist Marc-André Hamelin.